Hello everyone, my name is Hassam Habib and I will be presenting our work Making a Radical Misogynist. In this work, we seek to answer how online social engagements with the manosphere influences traits of radicalization. In our work, we look at how social engagements such as community participation, user interaction, and acceptance or rejection associated with the manosphere can influence problematic user behavior, such as toxic language, group identification, and preoccupation with dangerous ideologies. First, let's look at the manosphere. The manosphere can be defined as a group of communities with misogynistic ideologies. The manosphere includes multiple subgroups that have their own distinct ideologies. Communities such as the incels, men going their own way, men's rights activists, and pickup artists. These communities have found different ways to integrate anti feminism into their own ideologies. And although they are separated by their particular beliefs, they are united by the misogyny and hatred towards women. Now that we know what the manosphere is, a group of communities that are unified by their hatred towards women, let's take a closer look at user behavior. We particularly look at warning behaviors of a user. As the word suggests, these behaviors are identified through research on radical individuals as warning signs of an individual's progression towards radicalization. Researchers, after studying these radical individuals, have found warning behaviors that can be identified from the language of a radicalized individual. Increase in the magnitude or frequency of any of these linguistic features could suggest progression towards radical beliefs, and separately, these beliefs also aid in understanding the psychology of a user. We use a subset of identified warning behaviors in our work, and we seek to find changes in their magnitude or frequencies. We look at fixation, which measures how preoccupied a user is with a particular topic, and grievances, which means the expression of perceived injustices. We also look at some linguistic features such as power, negativity, toxicity, and anger. And finally, some group identification features as well, such as how the user creates groups around themselves and others. For each user, for each warning behavior, we measure their monthly magnitude and use that to perform our analysis. Finally, let's take a closer look at the social engagements provided by social media platforms. We focus primarily on three categories of engagements: participation in a community, interacting with users, and getting feedback from other users as votes. We specifically look at the events that include these engagements with the manosphere. Similar to warning behaviors, for each user, we create a time series of their engagements with the particular type of event. Now that we have explained the components of our work, let's take a look at how we analyze the influence of social engagements with the manosphere on a user's behavior. We study and monitor 12,000 users on Reddit for 52 months. For each of these users, we collect the monthly values of 8 warning behaviors, and for each of these users, we also collect the monthly values for 7 events. We use two different types of analysis to measure how the social events are influencing warning behavior of a user. We use a treatment controlled analysis to understand how different the user becomes after the event, and we use a regression analysis to measure the influence of each unit of that social event. For our treatment controlled analysis, we consider the social event to be the treatment, and we construct our treatment group of users who have experienced that event, while we construct a control group of users who have not experienced that event but have similar warning behavior as the treatment users before they experience the event. We compare the warning behaviors of treatment and control users after the event so that to measure how much of the warning behaviors were influenced by the event. For our regression analysis, for each user we create pair of event and change in behavior. This pair informs us how much the event the user experienced that particular month and how much their warning behavior changed the next month. We use regression to model this relationship and measure the immediate influence of a single instance of the event on the next month's warning behavior. Now let's take a closer look at the results of our analysis. For participation, we look at the influence of joining a manosphere and exclusive participation in the manosphere. For interaction, we look at what happens after a user interacts with an elite manosphere user or the other way around. Finally, for karma points, we look at how downvotes represented by rejection from outside the manosphere influence the user, and how social acceptance represented by having a post with high upvotes in the manosphere changes the user behavior. For participation, we find that joining a manosphere community influences increase in discussion related to feminism and women. We also see that manosphere users exhibit much higher warning behavior particularly associated with the manosphere, such as negativity, anger, and grievances compared to their control counterparts. and comparing the warning behaviors of an elite manosphere user who is the top 10% member of the manosphere community, we observe exclusivity of posting on manosphere to enormously influence warning behaviors. While participation requires users to be aware of the community, users can also unsuspectingly interact with elite manosphere users outside of the manosphere. Measuring the influence of these interactions, we see a significant increase in toxicity and fixation towards women. We also notice that the majority of these types of events have took place in toxic alt-right communities. But more problematically, being approached by an elite manosphere user results in slight increase in outgroup construction and othering. And unlike the previous type of interaction, we notice these interactions primarily took place in mainstream and benign communities. Finally, looking at how the scores you get on your post can influence the user behavior, looking at what happens to users who are repeatedly downvoted and rejected from non-manosphere communities, we observe users to become slightly angrier and more toxic in their subsequent submissions. While on the other hand, making posts that are very well accepted in the manosphere and getting a lot of upvotes, we observe a form of ideology validation where the user starts to show huge increases in warning behavior specifically associated with the manosphere, such as grievances, negativity, and outgroup construction. In conclusion, our results show the influence engagements with the manosphere has on a user's behavior and highlight how these engagements can be exploited to spread dangerous ideologies. While Reddit has been working to limit the spread of the manosphere on their platform through banning, our results further underscore the urgency and importance of timely and complete moderation strategies. Using our results and prior work, we argue closing dangerous communities, flagging problematic users, and designing thoughtful feedback system is key to addressing these problems. Thank you.